Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue The president's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse.
President-
A presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or
Ah,
at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that
the
committee?
seeking of pardons is
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama-Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators thinking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The
of a
audacity!
president who's so clearly
The
concerned about his own
audacity!
criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Stably, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Oh yeah, I got to turn the mic up. I almost forgot, but you know, technical difficulties every day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. Welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where we're going to torture you with some insufferable liberals today. I'm kind of in line with the old Twitter Tuesday thing, or not Twitter. What I say, TikTok Tuesday, whatever. It's all Instagram today. But anyway, I was watching videos today and I was remembering how insufferable some of these people are, and I thought I'd bring it to you too, so you can suffer with me. Anyway, happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. I'll show you this meme that Somnambulent Nation sent me. It was quite humorous, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I do have a Streamlabs right off the bat. Avocados Diablo, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Already dropping a small bullet in the tip jar with $2.23. Please make that a trend today, people. We spent way too much money on vacation. Avocados Diablo says, so Iran did what Iran always does. They phoned in to let us know they were going to retaliate so no one would get hurt and we would not bomb them again. Told their people we won and asked to call it off. People can stop being panicans now. Yeah, I didn't pay great attention to it. Heard there was a ceasefire and Trump's mad at Israel for breaking the ceasefire. But, you know, they sent a bunch of missiles and stuff in the air, and there's video of soldiers kind of like watching the fireworks as our interceptor missiles basically knocked them all out of the sky. And, the declared victory. I think, you know, someone asked me this morning at work, who's kind of paying attention to this more than I am. They said, do you think maybe the reason they gave us a warning and said we're going to do stuff and whatever was just a save face move? I'm sure it is. That makes sense, you know, because their missile systems aren't coming through our shit. We can blow shit up right out of the sky. And also, you know, I am still a little bit fascinated by the fact that we sent seven bombers through airspace all over the place. Nobody knew it. Nobody figured out. Nobody leaked it and said, oh, here's comes some shit. The Russian systems didn't pick it up. The Chinese systems didn't pick it up. The Iranian systems, which were made by the Russians, didn't pick it up. And we went in there and without a shot, they did not. I mean, as much as I'm not thrilled about the whole situation, it is pretty impressive that we got in there without in and out, boom, bam, bang, boom, and nothing. They did not know. And I got to think that some of the other potential adversaries around the world, aka Russia and China, are like, the fuck? We had no idea. We didn't see it. Came and boom, bam. So that's impressive. And I don't think, you know, other people, World War III. No. That's probably not going to happen. First of all, China can't afford it. They're struggling to pay people already and whatever and keep things going. And the Russians are preoccupied. They've been burning up through their ordinances for, you know, in Ukraine for quite a while now. They can't afford it. So, is it raining? Oh, you hear a noise in the background? It's not raining. That's my hose. I'm putting water in the pool. It's really noisy down here. I didn't notice how noisy it is. Oh, wow, that is really noisy. Well, no, that's just, maybe I can turn the gain down a little bit. Does that help? Is it loud enough if they turn the gain down, but you hear the... Yeah, it just sounds really loud. Yeah, I can't turn it down too much because, you don't hear anything? Okay, never mind. All right, name one country that can't afford it. Nobody can afford it. We don't want war. And so I don't know. Is this going to be a case of Trump was right or Trump was really wrong? I don't know. Anyway. All right. Thank you, Avocado Stab. Let's say hi to everybody, get this thing going, because I do want to get to some of these videos, especially a couple. There's a kind of a genre on TikTok and Instagram and all these short form videos where liberals are trying to teach you something, and they become very insufferable, and also the intolerance of them, but also and I'm fascinated by some of the assumptions they make too. So we'll get into that. But I got a little news first, and then we'll go into some of these videos because it's very interesting. Their thought process and who they think their opponents are. So let's do that right after that. First in the chat today, Kara Soldier won the. Oh wait, I'm so used to playing that music that I did it. No, Kara Soldier, you get the bell. You were here first. Also, good morning, Avocados Diablo. Now I'll play your music. Also, good morning, Selecta Boy. What up? Resolute Germs in the house. Mike Savage, Blarg, Reaction Puerto Rico is in the house. Good morning. JB, what's up? The Pope's here. Tyrannius the Third, the Blessed Lich. Good morning, sir. Also, Johnny Boomer Tech doing his job. Good morning also. Plague Trucker Zach. What up, Zach Osborne? Nice to have you here. Jesse Leon making a rare appearance. Aaron Meredith is here. Bookworm Addict. What's up? Also, Darren Root. Did I already say Somnambule Nation? I did not. Somnambule Nation, who also tweeted out the show prior to me doing it, which you always beat me to the punch, probably because I try to put too much stuff in there that, whatever. Who else? Bookworm Addict. JB. No, I'm not. Okay, I see that, JB. Boomer. Blue-Eyed Screams here. Good morning. On the honorable mention list of favorite Canadians, Special Can Acid, and Tyler F. So good to have you all here. How many people are here so far? 17, 18, and 8 likes. There's a problem. Why is this so hard? Why do I gotta say this every day? Hit the damn like button. You're here, especially those who are here every day. That should be this. Click, look, click. Click, look, right? That's how it should work. So there you go. Thank you for the people who are already hitting the like button and sharing the stream. Speaking of people sharing the stream, here we go. We got, let's start down here. Somnambule Nation, as usual, treats the show out before I do. Wait, what is it? Oh, that's from yesterday. Thank you for tweeting out the show. And then also, sent this meme, which I'm reluctant to repost, but I think I commented on it, so I suppose it's the same thing. It still shows up in my feed. Prince Adam forgot it was Taco Tuesday apparently, and I'll just let you read that for a second. It's pretty funny. And I thought of every person that I know named Jeff when I saw it. Okay, you done reading yet? It's funny. There you go. So, yeah, it's YouTube, so I'm going to give it a minute before I start saying that crude of a thing. Anyway, Tila was pissed. Yeah, Tila was pissed off. Anyway, thank you also, Somnambule Nation, Resolute Germ, let's see, JB, Plague Trucker Zach, and Reaction Puerto Rico for retweeting my post of the show. I got a let's go from JB. Got a let's go from from Resolute Germ, the Daily Wrestler, and I don't know who this is either. I need to start watching wrestling just to find out who some of these people are. And then Reaction Puerto Rico within the theme of me with the skydiver there. Let's go, thank you. And Mike Savage with the let's go, or that's liked in that pick or whatnot. So there you go. Also, one more super chat, aka Streamlabs from Avocados Diablo, who says, in these Karens' defense, they probably are a better person than me. I'm admitting pretty terrible. I'm admittedly pretty terrible, but I have learned to live with it, so let them feel superior if it helps them sleep at night. Yeah, and we'll just stay over here and laugh at them. So anyway, thank you, Avocados Diablo. Sponsored the show like a king. Way to go. All right, and there's Mike Savage with the daily let us go. Let us go, as opposed to let us go, which would be what you put on a sandwich. Let us go on a sandwich. Anyway, well, maybe. Okay, all right. In the chat, lettuce on a sandwich, yes or no? Now, some people are going to go, Well, I suppose it depends on what kind of sandwich. Well, on your favorite sandwich. Is there lettuce on your favorite sandwich? Put a yes or no in the chat. Is there lettuce on your favorite sandwich? Let me think about that. Nope, there's not lettuce on my favorite sandwich because my favorite sandwich is a Reuben. But I do like it on, someone said on a BLT, hell yeah. Tyler F, or Tired, hell no. Well, if your favorite sandwich is a Reuben, then you'd be in my alley. There you go. All right, let's get into what's going on in the world. Oh, by the way, the holiday that I decided to highlight today, and I'm not even sure why, just because the holiday calendar is pretty boring today. Today is International Fairy Day. All right, yeah, happy International Fairy Day. Now that has nothing to do with Pride Month. That's a completely different thing. Don't go there. It's not a Pride Month. This is actual like fairies, the little mythical Tinkerbell type thingies. And so people are, and it was an excuse to put this picture on for Avocado Diablo because I know he likes to find individuals, and she's all right. You know, she looks pretty good there. Anyway, so I was trying to think what would people post on International Fairy Day? Well, someone here says demoted angels, demoted pagan deities, demons, spirits of the dead, hidden people, elementals, changelings. There are many origin stories for fairies. They've had lore from many cultures and can be thought of as sweet feminine creatures to dangerous evil beings. Today is International Fairy Day. Don't call me that. That might have been a reference to something else. And there you go. So happy International Fairy Day. Other holidays going on right now. National Pralines Day. I can go for that. Oh, I can do. National Relationship Equity Day, which sounds like a really stupid thing. Hello, Evan S. Yes, during Pride Month, you have National Fairy Day. Oh, Sun Double Nation. You mean like the infamous Staten Island Fairy? No. You know, I had to think about this. Okay, in the chat, answer this question. Because I just, for some reason, this popped into my head. Speaking of like Staten Island type fairies, how many fairies, Ferry, that type of fairy, have you been on in your life? And I thought about that, and I can only think of 4. Because I was on the ferry that went from, Bayfield, Wisconsin to Madeline Island. I went on that ferry. I went on the ferry between Tarifa, Spain, and Tangier, Morocco. There was a ferry. There's a ferry on a golf course here in Minnesota. There's an island green, and you actually have to take a ferry to get to the green. They have a guy attended there every day just riding this ferry that you can drive. It holds like 4 golf carts. And you have to take the ferry to get over to the other side. Oh, no, you take a ferry to get to the next hole or something like that. But you have to take a ferry to get there. And then I was on what was the other one? I was on a ferry in New York, the Staten Island Ferry. That's what made me think of that. So how many different ferries have you been on in your life? And and then don't take that in the Pride Month thing, because that's not right. Don't do that. Anyway, what the hell is National Relationship Equity Day? Celebrate National Relationship Equity Day with your partner. Make sure you both get the appreciation, love, and respect you deserve. That's a dumb thing. Happy Kenneth Day, Farmer Day, Armed Forces Day in the UK, Upcycling Day, and Midsummer, whatever that is. That's all dumb shit. Moving on. And then, it's a Catholic feast day, because I was, at one point in this show, I was kind of fascinated with the Catholic feast of the Saints days. Today is the Saint John the Baptist. Is that right? Now, there's a really long explanation here, but I don't want to read all this. It's a lot of words. and so I'm just going to copy the link. And if you want to learn about St. John the Baptist, there you go. It'll be in a separate link in the links today, which I put in the chat at the end of the show, and also it goes in the description at the end of the show too. So anyway, if you want to learn more about St. John the Baptist, the top post here is what is it? Solemnity of the Nativity of St. John the Baptist. I baptize you with water for repentance, but he who is coming after me is mightier than I, whose sandals I am not worthy to carry. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire. That's the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew 3:11. So talking about St. John the Baptist, I guess. Yeah. And also someone put something about St. John's wort, the plant sacred to John the Baptist, whose feast day falls on midsummer, 24th of June. It's said to be the most magical when gathered on this day. Care must not be taken not to tread on it, though. As Manx folklore says, a fairy horse will rise up from the ground and carry you away. So there you go. There's another fairy. There's another fairy. I've never heard that one. For some reason, my allergies are kicking in. So if I sneeze or something, just bear with me. All right, next. What else? Now, newsy stuff. Let's get into some newsy stuff. Today is also the 3rd anniversary of the Dobbs decision in the Supreme Court, and some people are very happy about it, and some people are pissed off about it because the Dobbs decision moved the burden of abortion legalization, or rights or whatever, back to the states. It's not the court decided that, you know what? Yeah, no. This whole abortion law thing is that's a purview of legislatures in the states. And so some people are, holy shit, some people are being really mean about it. Happy birthday, Dobbs versus Jackson. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. It's from the Dobbs versus Jackson decision. Happy Dobbs Day, celebrating 3 years since the death of Roe versus Wade, the most disastrous Supreme Court decision in U.S. history. Well, I don't know if it's the most disastrous, but it's certainly, even according to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was not good law. And so, I'm sure that at some point Democrats are going to try to enshrine abortion rights in the Constitution, and if they're ever successful, I think we've lost it as a country. So anyway, not everyone's happy about this, and I'm sure there's someone, but let's just put it this way: the first 20 or so posts on this are all in support of the Dobbs decision, and also, again, the dubious way in which they created a right of abortion out of this Constitution is the reason that the Roe versus Wade was doomed to the dustbin of history. So there you go. Also today is primary day in New York City. Now, this has generated a lot of stuff in the news because of the current leading candidate. Now, let me find this here. This is actually what's happening tomorrow. Tell everyone, old person in New York City, that primary day was postponed a week. Wow, I wonder if this person's going to get investigated by the Justice Department. Anyway, New York City primary day is tomorrow. If you're still figuring out your ranking for mayor, use our mayoral quiz. We asked the candidates where they stand on key issues such as public safety, affordable housing, and the Trump administration. Well, excuse me, this is the New York City primary. Why are you asking people about the Trump administration? That's stupid. But so apparently they are saying that you can rank. The primary day is ranked choice voting. You can rank. I guess you can rank people from 1 to 5, and there's a certain candidate that some people are who's bringing up a lot of attention. His name's Zohran Mamdani. Someone here, today is primary day and the last opportunity to vote. Go vote and make sure you not to let the anti-Semitic extremist Mamdani become mayor. Polls today are open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Better go there as early as possible, first thing in the morning before it gets too hot in the day. Andrew Cuomo, by the way, is running for mayor in New York City. Andrew Cuomo, who left the governor race in shame, is now running for New York City mayor. So again, politicians coming back from the dead. Look, he's a jerk, but he's also kind of a likable guy in some ways. Now, see, New York Post opinion for a change primary day won't decide New York City's next mayor. Oh, is he running again? Sliwa, the guardian angel dude? I don't know. So anyway, the one who's generating the most buzz though, and most interesting stuff on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, is this Mandami guy. And apparently Stephen Colbert interviewed him and some other guys, people looking for mayors. Election year, Mandami and Lander talk about anti-Semitism on Colbert's show. Zoran said nearly all this on Bulwark Online last week, that October 7th was a horrific war crime, but the clip where he misstepped on Globalize the Intifada was the one part many people saw. So some people are saying that he's well, one of the funny things that we saw was people were talking about, there was some interview where they were asked, or debate, I'm sorry, in the debate, they were asked, you know, what would your first trip out of the country be if you were elected mayor? And I thought it was weird. Now look, I should preface this by the fact that New York City has the highest Jewish population in the world, the second highest population of Jewish people in the world, only to Tel Aviv as far as cities go. So the Jewish vote in New York City is very important. And almost every one of these mayoral candidates we're talking about, their first trip would be to Israel. Which I still, look, you're going to be the mayor of New York City. Why would your first trip be to Israel? I don't even know. And I'm not knocking Israel. I'm a fan of, I like Israel. Okay, remember? I think Israel is just fine and dandy, right? But it was weird that they would all say that their first trip would be Israel. Except for Mandami. Now, Mandami was just saying, no, I would visit all 5 boroughs. But they said, the question was, what's your first international trip? And he said the first 5 boroughs of New York City, which for him might be an international trip because, you know, who knows what, I don't know his background. Anyway, he is generating a lot of buzz. Now, let's see. For example, The Persistent says, New York mayoral primary. Today, Tuesday the 24th, this is Scott Pressler. One of the top contenders is socialist Zoran Mandani, who even proclaimed his love for a Hamas terror funding group. Vote for whoever you need to in order to stop him. There's a campaign to stop this guy. And I'm just curious, because if you look at, like, for example, England, there's like 7 major cities in England that have a Muslim mayor. And like here in Minneapolis, or the Twin Cities, I don't live in Minneapolis, but in the Twin Cities here, Mayor Jacob Frey is not Muslim, but they did the city council there approved to put all these giant loudspeakers for the Muslim call to prayer. I'm just find it fascinating. Here it is. There's another one. Here is New York City Mayor candidate Zoran Mandani with streamer Hassan Piker, who said America deserves 9/11 and was investigated by Homeland Security. How could New York City possibly elect this man? It seems like a stretch. New Yorkers, vote smart tomorrow and leave the socialist off your palate. Do not rank DSA candidate Zoran Mandani. Everyone else who tried this has gotten hurt. Everyone else did it the wrong way. That's a good meme. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about it. If you can watch some of the videos and stuff, the interview with Colbert is interesting. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I got other shit to do. New Yorkers is trending because it's their primary. Now this is the transformation of the Democratic Party since 2009, before Obama and after Obama. They throw a camel in there. By the way, I rode a camel when I was in, where was I? In Tangier, Morocco. That was kind of cool. I'll post that video eventually on Marty's Big Journey. And then now the other big topic is Israel and Iran. Speaking of Israel, and apparently there was supposedly a ceasefire, right? Israel and Iran ceasefire strained by mutual accusations. A ceasefire between Israel and Iran was announced by President Trump, and then it faced immediate challenges. Both nations have accused each other of violating the truce shortly after it was supposed to take effect. Trump expressed frustration over the continuation of hostilities, urging both parties to adhere to the ceasefire. Meanwhile, military actions have continued with Israel intercepting missiles and Iran attacking a U.S. base in Qatar. So now, a lot of people are making hay out of Donald Trump using these words.
Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel.
Wait, whoa,
Okay.
hold up. What did he say?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not.
Oh, yeah. I'm so fucking childish. The biggest load we've seen. Never mind. Anyway,
with Israel.
yeah, that's interesting. An American president being harshly critical of Israel. That's fantastic. I mean, not that it's and look, again, I am very Israel friendly, but it's very rare that you're an American president be critical of Israel, which is healthy because I think we need to have that relationship where we can be critical of each other. Israel, certainly, Netanyahu has been critical of us on things, and we should be able to be critical of our friends just like we should be critical of our enemies. So that's interesting.
When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that.
Now here comes.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, there we go. Whoa, there it is. And that's what everyone's talking about. In fact, the F-bomb is trending because of that. Now, breaking news about that F-bomb. Right here, federal judge rules that Trump dropping an F-bomb without consulting Congress is unconstitutional. Yes, there you go. Good morning, Kirsten. What up? Kay Schultz in the house. Don't mess with Trump. Very harsh words for Israel and Iran. The F-bomb comment is probably the most accurate statement about this conflict that I have ever heard. So there you go. Donald Trump not messing around. There you go. So, all right. Is that... MSDNC and Nobel Peace Prize. These are other things trending because of this. First, let's do the MSDNC. This guy, Vigilant Fox, who annoys me the way he does things, but he said, now Trump takes a flamethrower to CNN and MSDNC over Iran strike coverage. You gutless losers. Here's Donald Trump talking about talking to the media about the media.
And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all. And frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and
True.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine.
And silently.
Late in the evening, it was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that...
You get the point. He's mad at the media for doubting the results of that action. So, anyway, with that, people are laughing because he calls them MSDNC Now, here's one too. Checked in on the MSDNC after the ceasefire announcement, and they don't know how to spin this one. The guest did not call Iranian government capable, clever, and brave, or he did call them capable, clever, and brave, which should be the grounds to take him off the air. Here's an example. This guy is on here. Is this who's this guy? I can't remember. Ari something, whatever the hell his name is. Here it is.
The U.S. and Iran.
This won't be over until there are international inspectors on the ground, and the Iranians have announced we are permanently foregoing the enrichment of uranium products. That will be the only sign that's really at the end of it. They'll try and squeeze out of it in the coming weeks, days, months. They're very capable, clever people. They're brave people. They have a tremendous scientific bench. They're not going to give up this 30-year aim easily.
So
but
he's
they got
praising
no
them.
I think.
I wonder if he has an Iranian flag in his bio. By the way, have any of you seen that yet? I've been waiting for someone to put Iranian flags in their bios just so I could just make fun of them, but I haven't seen it yet. I wasn't sure. Anyway, you can watch these if you want. They're in the links. Let's move on. And Nobel Peace Prize is trending. Apparently, some people on the right think Donald Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize for the ceasefire. I guess I don't know. That's really premature, and I don't know why they're doing it. Maybe just to piss off liberals. I don't know. And then finally, the last trending topic here that I pulled up was Judge defies Supreme Court ruling on deportation. Now, this one, I have no idea what's going on here, how this is even a thing. So the United States Supreme Court recently ruled 6-3 in favor of allowing the Trump administration to deport illegal immigrants to third countries. However, U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy in Boston has announced he will continue to block these deportations, particularly to countries like South Sudan, despite the Supreme Court's decision. The action sparked a significant legal confrontation regarding judicial authority and immigration policy, which, that's fascinating that a judge is defying the Supreme Court. And here's Julie Kelly has this. I've said repeatedly, these Democratic judges don't care what higher courts, including SCOTUS, say. They will advance their radical anti-Trump crusade come hell or high water. Murphy was recommended by Liz Warren and Ed Markey, appointed by Biden. He doesn't give a fuck what SCOTUS decides. And here's Sean Davis, a federal judge, issued an order explicitly and blatantly ignoring the SCOTUS ruling today, allowing deportations to continue, claiming without evidence the SCOTUS ruling is irrelevant to the case because the issue wasn't properly before the SCOTUS. Meaning what? Here it is. Judge Bridie Murphy, electronic order entering on plaintiff's emergency motion to enforce judgment. Plaintiff's emergency motion is unnecessary, subject to below. The courts may hang on. Saying their may order it remains in full force, notwithstanding today's stay of the preliminary injunction. And then he puts the Supreme Court case and then Sotomayor dissenting. The district court's remedial orders were not properly before the Supreme Court because the government has not appealed them or sought a stay pending forthcoming appeal. For the avoidance of doubt and to the extent plaintiffs' names are indeed subject to third country removal, basically defying what the Supreme Court said. So I'm really confused. Hello, Min. What's up? M. Weinstein's in the house. Be safe. There in Israel, and I've seen you say that you're following every time the sirens go off. Just keep yourself safe, my friend. Also, good morning, Doc Montavlo. The Trump administration ignored a 9-0 ruling from SCOTUS, so ignoring SCOTUS orders is fair game. No. They did not ignore the ruling. Procedurally, the ruling really didn't make any sense anyway, but they didn't ignore the ruling, unless you're going to ignore the part that was also in that ruling that was in favor of what the Trump administration said. That's very interesting, though. but it's a subordinate court ignoring a ruling is different than a different branch of government having a difference of what a co-equal branch of government interpretation is a little bit different than the ignoring the highest order of your branch of government. Okay, so a subordinate judge who's two levels below the Supreme Court ignoring a Supreme Court a ruling is a little more problematic, if you ask me. So there you go. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, dropping another deuce plus 23. On the deportation case, I have an easy winning argument for the Fred. If we cannot deport people to countries where they may be tortured, Your Honor, we cannot guarantee these people will not be tortured in the U.S., so we cannot bring them back. Oh, yeah, that would be a great line if, well, it'd be a great line for someone on the left to say that because they assume that that's what's happening. And unfortunately, there have been cases. So, but usually it's in places that aren't within the continental United States jurisdiction. So thank you again for sponsoring the show. Fantastic. All right, now enough of that. Shall we go to the insufferable part of the show? There's a genre. Oh, by the way, there's an article in the links about Trump announcing the complete and total ceasefire with Iran. I'm just putting in the links today. And it seems like both parties seems to have already violated that, so that's interesting. So there you go. All right, let's
everything to do with white
shut up. All right, we're gonna watch some.
So talking to MAGA
what
continues
the
to
hell?
prove
I want you to turn. Oh, I see. I turned that off. Let's just. I need to close this. All right, let's watch a few videos of Insufferables. And I find it fascinating. Now, as you well know, I've never thought of myself as MAGA, right? There's something that holds me back from actually calling myself MAGA, but I have voted for Donald Trump twice. I support the vast majority of what they're doing. I think they could do some things better. I'm not a fan of Trump's personal style, but apparently he tends to get results on the things he's doing, and he tends to do things. What he does often gets overlooked by what he says, and certain things he has done. I agree with for the most part, and far more than what the Democrats would be doing. Right. So I am certainly MAGA adjacent, but I've just never really called myself MAGA. But devil's advocacy, I am listening to these different people as though I were MAGA, because basically they're talking about anyone, not just the people who would like to call themselves MAGA, but anyone who would vote for Donald Trump. And now not all of these are about Donald Trump, but some of them are. And there's this just genre of insufferable people on the internet who just always try to teach you something as if they know everything. And a couple of them are very funny to me because they come off as people who may be in college and they may just be trying to write a paper or something for a professor who's super liberal, and they try to get every single little buzzword and little tick and tack in there that they can. And so I find great humor in it, but I also find them to be incredibly insufferable. So we're gonna watch some of these videos today, and I hope that you don't throw up or do anything crazy like that. They're not that bad, but they are. Some of them in some ways are funny, and maybe you can come up with some lines too that I can. What's the word? I don't know. Use when I do actual replies to these people. So here we go. Let's start with this one here. We'll pause it as soon as it pops up. And, oh, that didn't work. That's not what I want to do. How do I can do this? Oh, I know. Here, let's just open a few extra these links here. Yeah, we'll do that. And, all right, we'll do it that way every time. All right, let's start with, let's start with one that's, should I save that? I'm going to save that one. Let's start with this guy because he's pretty insufferable. Hang on. Okay, we'll unmute him. Now, his question here is, why is America more conservative? And his answers are, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because, well, let's just listen.
America's more conservative because, one, we've been subject to the greatest, most well-funded, decades-long right-wing propaganda campaign in human history.
Okay, let's start with that. Because I think maybe this guy's pretty young, and so doesn't really know a whole lot about how the media and news has worked throughout the decades. And I knew growing up that, Walter Cronkite's so unbiased, and this is just the news, and all these news stations, they are all just telling you the news. And then as you get older, you realize, oh God, they've been injecting their opinion into shit all this time. And one of the things that these people tend to do is say, well, it's Fox News. They really fixated on Fox News, as if Fox News has the entire audience of the right wing, of anyone who's on the right, in their hands. And if you think about it, Fox News, on their biggest shows during their heyday, maybe it would have 4 billion people watching their biggest shows, Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity, any of those people. At most, 4 billion people, right? And if you compare that to the number of people in the United States, that's minuscule. And even though they were the number one in cable news, even if you combine the audiences of all the other news sources that were on television at the time, MSNBC and CNN and the headline news and ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, all these other news things, all the other media dwarfs anything that Fox News would have been put out. And it's all, if you listen carefully to how the media runs, for the most part, they always side with Democrats or the left, except for Fox News. And so this is what pissed people off about Fox News, because some people discovered, oh, wow, there's a news station, or if some like to call it entertainment because that's in their disclosure, which is the same for CNN and the same for MSNBC, but that's doesn't matter. But finally people found a channel, oh my gosh, they have opinions like mine, so they would watch the opinion shows. But the news part of Fox News, for the most part, is the same as the other shit. AP, Reuters, UPI, different wires, and news. So anyway, this guy's saying, oh, the most well-funded decades-long right-wing propaganda campaign in human history. Well, what does that even mean? Oh, that there's some right-wing news sources out there? Well, they've always been out there. You just didn't know who they were. You didn't know about, William F. Buckley, for example. You didn't know about, other conservative pundits that were out there. The Fiery Line was fairly conservative, even though it made it on half of it was on PBS. Or, there were other outlets you just didn't know about it. Or the Washington Times, you didn't know about it. It was not a campaign. It's just people have different opinions than you. So anyway, let's continue here.
2, because we're more religious.
Because we're more religious? How? Religion has been dropping off in the United States for a long time. If anything, you know who else is religious? Most of the newcomers. People who come here from other places are more religious than actual Americans. The Americans are here, and I shouldn't say actual Americans, because some of them come here, they immigrate here legally, and they become Americans. But we're not that religious. Yes, there's a lot of religious people, but not nearly as religious as some other countries. But anyway.
Religion teaches you to be submissive to authority and to not base your views on actual evidence.
Oh, really? Does it now? You sound like you might be projecting. What do you mean? Because religion, it requires faith in some cases, doesn't mean that you don't also make opinions based on evidence. But that's a kind of I don't know if it's projection, but it's more like this is your excuse for why people don't think like you, because there's evidence for things that they see too, but you don't like that evidence.
3, because racism is worse here.
Oh, because racism is worse here. Okay, you sound like someone who's never been anywhere else. You sound like someone who's never been anywhere else. Because racism. Oh, yeah, really. Yeah, I get it. Okay, racism. Thank you, Avocados Diabli, who says, another small bull in the tip jar. His entire premise is false. The U.S. does not create more conservatives than any other country. Most countries in the world have their own brand of people who want to conserve what makes them that country. He is being confused by relative term. Yes, he is. Very much so. But because racism is worse here, again, this is someone who's never been anywhere else, to me. If you've been to a lot of the Asian countries, they're very racist. They look down on a lot of other people who are not like them. And racist, look, while there are certainly racist elements of this country, we're not a racist country, although I'm sure you'll argue against that.
Don't get me wrong, America has an unusually selfish culture.
An unusually selfish culture. I suppose in some ways, but we also have an unusually generous culture. Think about that. Think about what Americans give to other nations. We're unusually generous. Anyway.
It really doesn't help that our culture despises emotional intelligence.
Really? How so? Again, there's a couple of these people who talk about emotional intelligence because they believe that when they say emotional intelligence, they're talking about behavioral emotional intelligence. But what they seem to forget is emotional intelligence doesn't mean you're emotional or you live on emotions or whatever either. And in fact, control of emotional arguments, or be able to have self-control over emotional arguments, may be more likely a conservative trait, and that's not a bad thing. For example, an emotional argument or an emotional reaction to something would see a baby lion cub on the side of the road with an injury just laying there, and you're going to go help and save the baby lion cub, and you're so focused on the baby lion cub that you don't realize that the mother is just out the other side of those weeds, and as soon as you come over and touch that baby lion cub, you get killed because the mother eats you. Okay, that's yeah, emotional intelligence is a buzzword too. So and I know that's not exactly the example he's talking about, but it's that's look, when you make decisions based solely on emotions, it's fun. It's kind of funny too, because he talks about emotional intelligence, but then he's talking about they don't believe in evidence. There's a delicate balance between evidence and emotion.
We're also probably the most advertised to group of people on the planet.
Can't argue that. We are absolutely advertised to way too much. Big time. Well, but we spend a lot more time in front of TVs than most of the planet too, I'm assuming.
The whole point of advertisements is to make you feel insecure because that's what drives consumerism.
I need this, I need that. Yeah, I can't necessarily argue with that.
Being poorly educated relative to other industrialized countries?
Yeah, in some ways. And so you're saying that people are conservative because they're not as educated? How do you a lot of people are conservative because of experience. A lot of people are conservative because of what their situation is. I don't know. Nobody MR, nation of consumers. That's why we are that. Definitely. We're definitely that. So anyway.
Doesn't help either. And the lead pollution from decades ago, primarily from gas and paint, certainly didn't help the older generations.
Oh, isn't that cute? Oh, you're saying that I'm assuming he thinks the boomers who, because lead paint, even when I was a kid, lead paint was gone by the wayside other than when you wanted to remove it from your house. And I am the last boomer, right? So, but the idea that, listen, dickhead, I imagine that most of your professors you had in college were those people who lived during the lead paint era. So it's funny. I bet you would not say that about your college professors who taught you to think this way. So it's hilarious because these are the guys who are always, these boomers are so stupid. And yet, who did you learn from? Who's the generation that's out there protesting at most of these protests? Okay, mostly boomers. Do you think they don't have emotional intelligence? Do you think they were subject to lead paint? What are you talking about, you moron?
But in the end, America's more conservative, mostly because Fox News, religion, and racism have rotted millions of people's brains.
Oh, wow. Now, this is fascinating, too, because it's Fox News that's rotted their brains. Religion has rotted their brains. And racism. Look, a lot of these people who are MAGA now, you realize, dummy? Listen here, dummy. I'm talking to Fred Sanford. Listen here, dummy. A lot of these people who voted for Barack Obama or voted for Donald Trump also voted for Barack Obama. Is that racism? I don't know. You sound stupid. Anyway.
America's more conservative.
Okay, so that's that dickhead. Enough of him. Moving on. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this so I don't make the same mistake twice. There we go. All right, next is, oh my God. This gem, hang on. And pause. And there we go. All right, this is interesting. This one's interesting only because I think she makes a fatal argument right from the start. Here we go.
Hey, I just wanted to remind you real quick that every right you enjoy today as an American citizen was brought to you by a radical liberal.
Yo! Did it? Oh, maybe you didn't really read the Constitution. No. Here's the thing. And she's basically what she is claiming is that the founding fathers were radical liberals because they wrote a constitution with a Bill of Rights in it, right? But if you took a moment to read and understand the Constitution, those rights that they enshrined on paper, they didn't make them up. Those were rights that came from a creator, or just the laws of nature, if you will. If you don't want to talk about a creator, rights are things that are from God, as Rush Limbaugh would say. So no, they didn't give you your rights. Your rights are what you have before they start making laws. So no radical liberals gave you any rights. And this is the problem. This is they said, what are the rights that people have regardless of who your government is or what your situation is? And the problem is the king was violating those rights. Some of those rights, a lot of those rights were enshrined in the Magna Carta too. They were enshrined in some of the Native American constitutions. They were enshrined because they are rights you have. Nobody gives you rights. Rights that you need from someone else are not rights. Those are requests, or those are, you can't get rights from somebody else. Your rights are things that you should have before before you start making laws about shit. Anyway, let's see. Did she say anything else? I don't think she said anything else. She's so happy with herself, though.
I know. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you. You're stupid. No. Yeah, she's talking about negative rights. Exactly. All right, next. Let's see. What's the next one here? I really ran out of time here. I'll just do three more because these are the three most insufferable of the bunch. Copy. And then I got to go because I got shit to do. All right. Now this young lady, holy shit, she's always trying to teach people things. I have two by her. But I'm gonna do the one. This one is gonna be great. This one's gonna be great. She's mentioning abortion here. She's going to talk about abortion. But I want to see if you notice something about her argument as she continues, and see if what she starts with is congruent with what she ends with. So here we go.
Let's talk about how overturning Roe v. Wade has nothing to do with states' rights.
Let's talk about how overturning Roe versus Wade has nothing to do with states' rights.
Rights and everything to do with white women.
And everything to do with white women. Now, if you know some statistics here, you'll kind of understand why your argument doesn't make sense.
You've ever heard of the Great Replacement Theory? This is one of the most common conspiracy theories among far-right people, and a lot of American conservatives believe in this.
A lot? What does a lot mean? And what does the Great Replacement Theory have to do with the overturning of Roe versus Wade?
They believe that enough immigrants are coming into the country and enough white women are having children with non-white people that one day this birth rate is going to overtake the white birth rate.
And I swear to God, the only person I've ever even hints at this theory or whatever, that seriously, I mean, yes, like the Nick Fuenteses of the world, who's a dickhead. Most conservatives can't stand that fucker. But also the fact that the browning of America, which I've been hearing about since the 80s, does anyone really care? Like, if people are having children that are American born with American ideals, I don't give a shit what color they are. And I don't think most white people do either. I don't think they care. But also the fact that when you have 45% of Hispanics voting for Trump and larger numbers of everybody voting for Trump, is this really a valid thing? And no, I never hear anybody talk about this other than liberals. And this, by the way, this is the one who I said is specifically every one of her videos sound like she's writing a paper for a professor trying really hard to get an A.
AKA, if white people don't have majority status, they won't be able to impose their rule upon everyone else. Now that brings me to the white women birth rate problem. It's a commonly documented fact that white women have declining birth rates more than any other demographic of people. This is likely due to a number of factors, but the primary one is that white people typically have access to better healthcare resources, AKA birth control and other options.
Let's stop right there. So she's going into this diatribe about how the white women birth rate is dropping and whatever. But she's also said that the ending of Roe versus Wade versus state rights, she's going into why there's this great replacement theory, ending Roe versus Wade. But does she not realize that black women have the most abortions? And so if they were really thinking from a white supremacy standpoint, they would encourage abortions because black women have the most. Isn't that a conflict with what her argument is here about versus the great replacement theory? If you wanted, you would be on board with the original Margaret Sanger premise of why we should have abortions and Planned Parenthoods and put them all in black neighborhoods. She's kind of got it backwards, but I'm trying to figure her out here. Maybe she doesn't know that.
Options to decide to carry out the pregnancy.
And also she puts this article up here as if this supports her abortion rights and the eugenic and racist origins of having it all. Now, it's funny because, again, if these are white supremacists, wouldn't they be applauding abortion rights, particularly where all the Planned Parenthoods seem to be located? It's just the opposite. So I don't think this has anything to do with the replacement theory. Has nothing to do with people's opinions on abortion rights. She's lost here.
Or not. Well-known conservative politicians have even stated that white women need to start having more babies.
Well-known? Who? Maybe there are some. I thought maybe they said Americans should be having more babies, but of course she's so she's so in tune with not being racist that sometimes she says racist shit. It's like, it's kind of weird. I gotta be honest with you.
So no, this is nothing to do with the right to life or states' rights. It's
Really? Nothing to do with it, and not states' rights. It's not about states' rights, okay? The reason Roe versus Wade was overturned is because it was bad law. And it's not about states' rights. It's about the people having the power, not the courts, to create law. That's where the problem with Roe versus Wade was. And even Ruth Bader Ginsburg acknowledged that. It's anyway. So she's saying it's literally rooted
in white supremacy and misogyny.
And misogyny, really? Okay. To you, because you're writing a paper for your college professor, it sounds like.
Attempt to control the pure white woman and get her to go back into the home to be the mother of the future generation of workers.
What? Again, who's having those abortions? If they were truly worried about the replacement theory, they would be like, oh yeah, put more Planned Parenthoods in the hood.
Not falling for this fucking bullshit.
Okay, so she's very upset about that. Fascinating. Next, we've got, hang on, one more. Let's see. Here's, okay. This guy. Why it's hard to talk to MAGA. And boy, does he make some assumptions. And again, I'm playing here as someone who is MAGA adjacent. Unmute. Here we go. This is amazing.
So talking to MAGA continues to prove to be a quite worthless endeavor.
Because you're just not very good at talking with people, I'm going to assume.
And here's the main reason why.
Oh, what's the main reason? Let's find out.
If your perspective or the foundation of your thoughts and beliefs is coming from a place of both ignorance and intolerance.
Oh, so I'm ignorant and intolerant. Why would you think that? Because I don't think like you?
Then I don't think you understand how much space you haven't left us to talk about anything at all or get anywhere with it.
Oh, well, how much space do you need? I'm just wondering. And also, if I were that intolerant, why would I even want to talk to you about it? But I would if you really wanted to, but you seem to be wanting to cut me off. Why?
Also, not for nothing, I don't think you know enough about the things you want to discuss to be discussing them.
What evidence do you have of that? Because you don't know me. And you don't, how many MAGA people do you even know? There's a lot of us who know a lot of shit and have done a lot of research and watched, and also the beauty of it is I would guess that most conservatives or MAGA people know way more about your opinions than you do of theirs, because MAGA people tend to be more informed, as we find out. Maybe not in the academic sense of it, but certainly more are often more informed than you.
For example, you're going to want to talk to me about like trans issues, but you don't even know any trans people.
False. I do know trans people. So, first assumption, false. And I read a lot. And so I have a tendency to believe I'm kind of libertarian when it comes to trans issues for adults. But stop fucking with the kids. That's what I say. If an adult wants to be trans and they want to live their life, I don't give a shit. Don't expect me to be fully on board with your delusions, but otherwise, I don't care. Live your life. If that's your best life, I feel I'm more pity for you than anything, but I don't give a shit. But I do know trans people, so that's assumption. Next.
And yet, for some reason, you still think you should be the authority on whether or not they get to live happy, healthy, or safe lives.
No, I don't, dummy. It has nothing to do whether or not they should live happy, healthy, safe lives. I want everyone to live a happy, healthy, safe life. What I don't want is you trying to influence my children before they can make their own decisions about their own happy, healthy, and safe lives. But you live your life, bitch. Next.
You're going to want to talk to me about what women get to do with their bodies, the type of health care and treatment they get to receive, but you're probably...
I bet you're only talking about one aspect of medical treatment, because I don't necessarily think abortion's health care. Again, I'm not, and remember me, I think abortion should be legal up to a certain point. I think there should be restrictions and whatnot, but I'm not anti-abortion, but I'm certainly, there should be some reasonable restrictions, and I have a real big problem with it being it's an elective procedure. Okay, this is not a required procedure for any human being, except for people who have medical emergencies, which I'm all for, doing what you have to do in a medical emergency. So there you go. Thank you, Avocado Diablo says, as low as I am to suggest new laws, can we just outlaw filming yourself while sitting in the car? Nothing good has ever come from it. Hey, I do that sometimes. Thank you, Avocado Diablo. Response to the show again. All right. And oh, by the way, and you're probably not even a woman, and I bet you probably can't define what a woman is. I'm going to guess that.
You're not even a woman. You're going to want to talk to me about tariffs. You don't even know what tariffs are.
I know exactly what tariffs are. They're a tax on another country to sell their goods in our country. But I do know what tariffs are. Oh, that's an unfortunate freeze frame.
You're going to want to talk to me about international relationships, but you think international travel is going on a Carnival cruise ship for 3 days.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I bet you I've been to more continents than you have, buddy boy. In fact, I just came home from some international travel, 2 lovely weeks in Spain, and went to Africa and Gibraltar and Ireland. I'm an international sensation.
You don't understand the things that you're talking about.
Oh, I certainly do. Trust me. And plus, I'm old. I've had a long time to learn about shit.
You're going to want to talk to me about diversity.
Wait for it.
And how you don't believe it's actually a benefit or a superpower, but you...
Wait, diversity's not a benefit or a superpower. Diversity is just a fact. Oh, and forcing diversity generally doesn't work. But diversity happens when you teach people how to do shit. And as people know how to do shit, and if you teach more people to do shit, there's always going to be more diversity. But I also don't believe in the idea that diversity is our strength. No, it's not. And I don't mean homogeneity, but you probably just think racially, but I don't think that way. I think you have to have a certain set of American style values, regardless of what race you are, to be successful in America. Now, that's not diversity. That's just people learning how to live together. And if you have a lot of disparate ideologies, it makes it harder to work together. But you can also learn from people who are different from you. I'm fine with that. But the idea that, again, diversity can be a really shitty thing in some cases, depending on if you're trying to get something done in a certain way that doesn't offend anybody. But again, here's this next line that cracks me up.
You don't know diversity. Your social circles aren't diverse. Your communities aren't diverse. Your families aren't diverse. So what?
Okay. Now, I know I may be the exception in this stream here, but the idea that my family's not diverse, you don't know me at all. I suppose I get diverse points just for being me, don't I? But obviously, as this guy speaks, I go, wow, I could talk to him by his criteria, because, even the diversity, hell, my family, got my Nigerian family, my Irish family, my wife's Czech and Eastern European family, my sisters, 2 of my sisters are half Taiwanese. They're married to Filipinos. My uncle was married to a Japanese woman. My cousin is half Japanese and black. I've got almost the entire spectrum down. Is that diverse enough for you, dickhead? Anyway.
What do you know about diversity?
I know that it isn't always a strength. It can be. It can be helpful for different opinions, different things. but it's not the be all end all, son. And trust me, as a black man in America, I know that.
You see, talking to this group of people, man.
This group of people, you don't even know. See, you forget too that even MAGA people are not all the same. Don't all have the same experiences. There's MAGA people of all races, creeds, colors, and both sexes. So the idea that you seem to have a myopic view of what the MAGA people are, not them.
Seems to be more infuriating every single day because you don't know what you're talking about. So,
or maybe you just don't understand what we're talking about. All right, last one, because I'm already running really late, will be this one. The only reason I'm playing this one is because it's one of these things where people pigeonhole people into one thing, and often it's the thing that may not have anything to do with the vast majority of the people she's trying to talk about. So the other one back here, who was talking about this dude, why is America more conservative? And he goes to the Fox News. Well, what about the 90% of the conservatives who don't watch Fox News? Okay, because you maybe got 10% of conservatives who watch Fox News, or our right-wing media. They might watch all different forms of right-wing media, or all forms of media. You don't have to watch conservative media to be conservative. Well, this one here also has a very myopic view of who. Well, she starts talking about Christian nationalists. Now, how many fucking Christian nationalists are there? I could go months talking to conservatives and never meet a Christian nationalist, or at least the way she described it. Here we go. Oh, and again, mute.
And there's a reason that 72% of
Let's start this over.
Christian nationalists want war in the Middle East.
Who are the Christian nationalists? How many Christian nationalists are there? And why do Christian nationalists want war in the Middle East? Wouldn't Christian nationalists be focused on the nationalist part, but maybe not?
And there's a reason that 72% of white evangelicals are supporting everything destructive that the Trump administration does.
Really? They're supporting everything destructive that the Trump administration does? Oh, so you're assuming they want destructive things, which I'd like to hear what your definition of destructive is, too.
Let me show you an example. This is someone I went to high school with.
Okay.
Perfect. Maybe something will be purpose-done war instead of something pointless like the rest of the stupid...
Oh, she's got an
Democrats.
anecdote
Obama
of one of her
Biden
friends.
Fucking funded Iran billions of fucking dollars.
True.
Trump just wanted to claim some of that back. Send it. Trump, a man with balls. He didn't need... Thanks for sticking up for Iran, though. I was sticking up for civilians and for the Constitution, but go...
Okay, they didn't hit civilian targets, but go on, sis.
Go off, sis. But here's the important part. It says the end times are getting closer and closer. He encourages me to get closer to my creator. He does what manipulative people from back home do and bring my dead father into this, which is so...
Oh, she's resentful.
Slimy and... And then down at the bottom, he said, defend Iran all you want. God's people in Israel, thank the people not like you. The end is near. This doctrine is very popular in Christian nationalists, and it's...
And who are these Christian nationalists again? I've never met one, but anyway.
It's called premillennial.
And I am in a lot of Republican right-wing circles because I listen to Republicans all the time and right-wing people and whatever. Not a whole lot of Christian nationalists out there, at least not what she defines as.
Millennial dispensationalism, and it includes rapture doctrine, and it's very new. Disciples didn't believe this, Paul didn't believe this, John Calvin, Augustine, Martin Luther, none of them believed this. This showed up in the 1830s with a man named John Nelson Darby, and he came to the U.S.
I do dig her earrings, though. Are those the phone booths from what you call that show, Doctor Who? They kind of look like it, don't they?
Several times in the 1840s because American evangelicals ate this it up. He taught that there would be a rapture of God's people after triggering wars and disasters to trigger the end.
Okay, so they started studying Revelations and somebody really got into it. No, not TARDIS.
Times. Then there would be a 7-year tribulation. The Antichrist would rise.
Oh no, those are fucking guillotines. Oh my God. She has guillotine earrings. I just noticed what they were. Oh, that's stupid.
and then there would be Armageddon, and then Jesus would return. So he believed that by triggering the end times, we would get Christ to return sooner. Now, again, this was not church doctrine prior to him at all. And then this was later promoted by the Schofield Reference Bible, the Moody Bible Institute, and the Dallas Theological Seminary. And also,
again, how many people, what percentage of people on the right are into this doctrine? Probably pretty small, and it hasn't. And certainly there are certain people that are really diehard Israel because of that. But that's not why I support Israel. I support Israel because it's the country in the Middle East that's an actual democracy and has rights and things like that, and because you know what, let's be real, it was their land, and they ended up back in it, and most of it they bought back. And so they have a right to it if they bought most of it back anyway. They weren't just granted it; they had already bought most of Israel before 1947, from the powers that were controlling it over the entire 20th century, since the beginning of the 20th century. Anyway,
so Darby had his own cult called the Exclusive Brethren, and he taught that.
So anyway, she goes on and on and on and on about this. And my question to her is, give me a number or a percentage of people on the right who pattern their life based on what they learned from you here. Because she's just out here. Again, this is another one of those people who seems like they're writing a paper for a college professor. And it's just really weird to me. So anyway, all right. I wish I had more time. I'd go through some more of these, but I don't. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'm going to go. So let me drop the links and we'll get out of here. I hope that you all have a lovely, lovely day. Here come the links as soon as I click that and this. And there we go. All right. Copy. Here are the links. Here's today's links. Oh, yes, it is their land. And look, if you know the actual history of the land, whose land is it then? Whose land is it? Answer that. Answer that. Whose land is it? And why? Just curious. Just curious. Anyway, there's links. I got to go. Come back tomorrow, yes. I want you to answer that question for me, and I don't think you're going to before I leave today. So, that's it. Got to go. Thanks. My name's PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thanks for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.